Sports fans, PBC Sports Chaos. It's marathon day here in Boston, but we're going to do our mock draft. PB and I are going to do our NFL 2026 mock draft today on Marathon Day. By the way, the course records are set all over the place on Marathon Day. It's a cool day with a tailwind, so it's great for the runners, not great for the fans. That's why I didn't go. All right, PB, let's get right into this. Ready to start off at number one. It's been pretty much a decision. They're going to take Mendoza, the quarterback out of Indiana. Although I heard an interesting story today. Why not go at Kirk Cousins and pick quarterback later?
Yeah, or next year.
Yeah.
Because next year should be a good quarterback draft. But yeah, I mean, you could do that, and then who would you take in that spot instead? You take a defensive player. I mean,
I've got Mendoza. I think Tom Brady's footprints are all over, the fingerprints are all over this, and they take Fernando Mendoza.
I do too. I think that's a consensus overall number one pick. I think the whole world would be shocked and surprised if they didn't take him. I'm going Mendoza as well at number one.
All right, Jets are up next. They need everything for crying out loud. They need a lot of crap, including a quarterback. But they need edges. They need wide receivers. They need cornerback. They need O line. What do you think they do?
Yeah, I think right at this point you're looking at probably the best defensive player in the draft, and that's Arvell Reese, the linebacker out of Ohio State. I don't think there's anyone else that could really sneak up into that spot unless they were looking more for, um, either help on the edge, potentially help with,
They have another
cornerback
pick. They
or
have another
something.
pick a little bit later on, so they're in a
Yeah.
good position, right?
Yeah, I think it's too early to take a receiver here at number two. I think they might go for a receiver later. But I'm going to go Arvell Reese, Ohio State linebacker, for number two pick. What do you got?
I'm with you on that one. All
Okay.
right. The Cardinals up next. This was where it could get interesting. They need a
Yeah.
quarterback as well. Do they reach for a quarterback here? The only other guy you could see is Ty Simpson. I don't
Yeah.
think so. What do you think?
Yeah. Ty Simpson's a legitimate, like maybe he's definitely a second day guy, and he's probably close to a third round guy. This is not a good quarterback draft. And if anything, the Cardinals might trade out of this spot.
Yep.
I think there's a possibility that could happen. There's so many trades that happen on draft day. I think our picks have to go by like the order that we think the players are going in. Which team ends up in that spot is another thing because we can't control the chaos of all the different trades that could potentially occur on day one. I'm going to go David Bailey here, edge rusher out of Texas Tech. As there's other guys on the board right now that are talented at offense, but I think they have what they need. They got Tyler Algier at running back, right, this year to complement James Conner. They have Marvin Harrison Jr. Michael Wilson showed flashes of brilliance toward the second half of last year. Obviously, they have a new quarterback system that's going to be in place um, in Arizona without Kyler Murray there anymore. Although Brissett played a ton of games last year, anyways. But I just don't think they're going to go after an offensive player here. I think they're going to work on their defense. And again, look at next year's draft to grab that quarterback, not Ty Simpson. So I'm going to go David Bailey.
Defense. I'm going to take the man-child from Miami, Francis Majo, I think is how you say it, the big, huge offensive tackle. And they set themselves up with protection for the quarterback they get next year. So I got him
Okay.
coming as a tackle at number
Okay.
three.
I like that pick. I have him going here in my top six. So we'll get to him in a minute.
All right, Titans are up next. They need everything as well: offensive line, edge, wide receiver, running back, linebacker. This is interesting. This has been the place that everybody has Jeremiah Love going. What do you think?
Yeah, and I agree with that. I mean, I think that if they have the faith that they have in Cam Ward, they might look at the next best offensive tackle on the board. But this draft is not very heavy on offensive linemen and offensive tackles like we've seen in some past drafts. I mean, you'd have to reach for a guy here with the fourth overall pick at offensive tackle, someone like a Spencer Fano as an example, or Blake Miller. I don't think they go up that high to take a pick like that. Jeremiah Love could be a generational running back. I say they go Jeremiah Love here.
I believe Jeremiah Love and Caleb Downs are the two best players in the draft. However, Tennessee defers on this one. I scratched him. I have David Bailey still on my board. They take David Bailey here, the edge player.
Oh, all right. Okay. I like it.
All right, the Giants, who made some news this week by trading Sexy Rexy, right, to the Bengals. This really bums me out because I see most draft boards putting this guy to the Cowboys. Giants need obviously defensive line now, offensive line, cornerback, linebacker,
Yeah.
wide receiver. But I think they make a splash. They take Sonny Styles out of Ohio State.
Yeah, that's exactly who I got going at number five as well. He just ripped it up at the combine. He moved himself up the board for sure. And I think he's a solid pick here at number five, especially knowing that they have the number 10 pick as well, right? Coming
Yeah.
following this up. So Sonny Styles is the guy at five.
All right, next up is the Browns. They need O-line, wide receiver, cornerback, and edge. I can't believe we're saying edge. They got the offensive player of the year for crying out loud, right? But
Yeah.
I don't think they need edge. That's for sure. What do you think?
Yeah, and this is really going to be, do we go after who we feel is the top wide receiver in this class, which a lot of people are saying a Carnell Tate. I know Makai Lemon is also in that conversation. Even Jordan Tyson in some cases, Omar Cooper. I mean, we got a good top 4 or 5 receivers here that they could go after. Which one of those will turn out to be the best and translate the best into the NFL? You got to consider system. You got to consider other things as well. I'm not sure that taking receiving here is the best decision that they could make, especially considering they have the 24th pick in this draft, and they can probably still get a top 4 or 5 receiver down there at 24. So their smart move here, it's still on my board, off your board, is to take the offensive tackle, best tackle in the draft, build your team around that, and go after Francis Mauigoa here out of Miami.
Now, since Malaga is gone, I'm going to take the Ohio guy for Cleveland in Ohio, Carnell Tate, the wide
Yeah.
receiver.
Yeah, that's a good pick, and I think a lot of people right now consensus have him landing there. I got him going in a couple more picks from now, but
By the way, people also have him going one pick earlier to the Giants, so he may not be available for the Browns if some other people's predictions come through, right?
right, exactly, and not to mention the fact that that's your third Ohio State player, I think. Off. Oh, have you have Alvaro Reese? Have you have him
Yeah,
going
and for
yet?
the
Yeah, you have him at
Jets.
number
Yeah,
two.
Jets.
So you got your third Ohio State guy off the board in the top 6
Yeah.
picks. All right.
All right,
Anything?
Washington's up next. What do the Commanders do? They need wide receiver help. They need edge help. They need offensive line as well. What do you think?
Yeah,
And they
I
need
think.
defensive back.
Yeah, and that's where I'm
Okay.
going with this. I think when we look at defensive players in this draft, that they're good. I mean, I think there's more defensive players in the top half of this first round. And what could be the most talented defensive back in all of this draft, and he's a safety, and it's Caleb Downs out of Ohio State. And there's another Ohio State product going
Ooh,
in the top 7 here. Caleb Downs to the Commanders.
I would agree, but I don't see the Commanders being that smart. I think they take the cornerback, Mansour Delane, instead.
Okay, out of LSU, yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Good pick. I mean, that definitely could happen. They definitely need help in that defensive backfield. I'm just going with the safety position over the cornerback position there. All right. So next up at 8 is the New Orleans Saints.
Yes.
And
Saints
this
need
is
a bunch of stuff as well, but what do you think they do here?
Yeah, and with Carnell Tate still on the board in my draft, because you already have him going to Cleveland,
Yeah.
I think they go Carnell Tate here. If Carnell Tate's not available, I'm not sure if they'll reach for a guy like Tyson here or a guy like Makai Lemon. They may shift gears and go after that aforementioned Mansour Delane, the cornerback, or something like that. But in my mock, I still have Carnell Tate here because Cleveland passes on him. And if so, New Orleans scoops him up right here. So I got him going to the Saints at 8.
Saints have always been a team that believed in getting pressure from the front four is critical. I got them taking Ruben Bain.
Yeah, which will piss off Kansas City because that's who I got Kansas City taking with the next pick at number 9, which might entice Kansas City to even trade up to try and get Ruben Bain. I think they're looking at Ruben Bain as a edge rusher that they can bring into that system and really help them out. So I would be surprised if they don't get Ruben Bain. I have Ruben Bain going to the Chiefs at 9.
I so here earlier I had in my mock 2.0, so now I'm 3.0. I had David Bailey being drafted here because Jeremiah Love went to the Tennessee Titans. Instead, he's gone, so they take Ruben Bain, which means now Kansas City's on the board. And I had Kansas City taking Ruben Bain at 9, but Andy Reid loves his toys on offense. Who's sitting on the board, on Russ's board, anyways, right now? Jeremiah Love. Pencil him in for the Kansas City Chiefs, and you got another toy for Andy Reid and Mahomes to play with.
I like your thought process, but I think you're crazy. Um, Jeremiah does not last till number 9 pick, number one. Number two, the Chiefs just got Kenny Walker from Seattle to be their three down
Andy Reid
RB.
is in love. I saw a report today, Dan Patrick show. Andy Reid is in love with Jeremiah Love. Absolutely loves him. If he can
He's
get
not.
him, he's going to take him.
He's not falling to 9. As a matter of fact, if he makes it past Tennessee, okay, the Giants probably wouldn't take him.
No,
The
there's no one
Browns
else on the
might not,
board that would take him,
but
PB.
but Washington would take him. If Washington's staring there,
Possibly, yeah,
yeah,
yes.
I think Washington scoops him up if he's there at
All right,
7.
we'll see. I got
But
that's my slide. Turns into being
all
a
right,
toy for KC.
all right. I'm rolling with it. All right. Well, at number 10 with the
Who do you
Giants,
got
now
for
that's
KC?
Ruben Bain. That's
Oh,
what
that's
I.
right, Ruben.
Yeah,
Okay, all right.
yeah, Ruben
All right,
Bain.
who do you got for 10 for the Giants?
So here, I think they go all in on defense. I think they have their offensive weapons. Obviously, unfortunately, last year, with their wide receiver there, his name's escaping me, but you know who I'm trying to think of, the kid from LSU.
Yeah.
He's back.
Oh, Tennessee.
Scatterboo,
Tennessee, right? Malik Booker or no, not Booker.
neighbors.
Names, yeah.
Yeah, Malik Neighbors. He's back. Cam Scatterboo, real deal. They got Isaiah Likely, tight end. They put a lot of stock into Jackson Dart. I think their offense is kind of figured out. It's their defense they need help with, which we know Sonny Styles at 5, we already talked about, is one way to help that on the front side of your defense. On the back side of your defense, you're going to need a guy like Mansour Delane. So I have him still on the board. I know he's off your board, but I think they go after that cornerback, Mansour Delane from LSU.
And still on my board is Caleb Downs, which I would love to see in Dallas. To, but he's going to the Giants. Giants take two guys I would love to see in Dallas, so I'm so depressed. But I got Caleb Downs going here.
All right, all right. So we both had Sonny Lyles going at 5 to the Giants. We both have a defensive back going to the Giants at 10.
Yep.
You just went safety, and it's funny because we had that exactly reversed in Washington. I had Caleb Downs, and you had Mansour Delane, right? So we kind of
Yeah.
just flip flopped those two picks. All right, pretty interesting. All right,
All right,
Dolphins
here
are
we
up
go to your
next.
home team. The Miami Dolphins are on the board. What do they do?
Yeah, I think they gotta go wide receiver here. I mean, we know Tyreek Hill's done. We know Jalen Waddle was traded to Denver. Who do they have at receiver? I mean, they're right now they're number one. The guy who will catch the most balls on that team next year is Devon Achane. The running back. Like they do not have a receiver that's going to catch more than probably 35, 40 balls. They need an alpha wide receiver, and they'll go back and forth between Mekhi Lemon and Jordan Tyson on this pick. I think either one of those could go here at 11. I think they lean a little bit more towards Jordan Tyson, though, just because of his size.
You can get receivers later on. And by the way, the Dolphins have another pick in this round. Offensive line is a critical need for whoever plays quarterback there. I got Spencer Fennell, the tackle, being drafted here.
Okay, that's a good pick. I think a lot of people have him going there too, and that's the next best tackle on the board. I got him slipping a little bit, but yeah. All right, you Cowboys are up next.
All right. Now that my two picks are gone, a guy that I watched the draft, the combine highlights again this afternoon, kid that ran 4.37 as a safety, Dylan Finneman is the draft here by the Cowboys, replacing Darren Woodson finally 20 years later.
All right. I think you and I have just reversed on our safeties and our cornerbacks in this draft in terms of where we have them landing, which means one of us is probably going to be right. or will be right 50% of the time because I think we have the positions locked in here that teams are going after. I get them going after the next best cornerback in this draft, which is Jermod McCoy out of Tennessee.
I did have that in my 2.0 before I went to the safety 3.0 after I saw his highlights this afternoon. But that's a good move too. I could see that very easily happen for sure. I agree with you there. All right, let's go to the Rams where things are going to get interesting because all of a sudden we don't know if Puka's going to be in a Looney Tune hotel next year or whatever, right?
Yeah.
I see them going wide receiver and they're taking a guy down the street, Makai Lemon.
Yep, exactly who I got going there, 12 spot too. So this is our third or fourth matched pick we have so far in this draft. I got Makai Lemon as a Ram out of Southern Cal.
All right, up next is the Ravens. They need a lot of help. Obviously, they lost their center Tyler Lindenbaugh, went to the Raiders. They need help everywhere. Tight end as well. What do you think that they do here?
Yeah, I mean, I look at that team and I think about their, potential offensive struggles, putting too much on Lamar Jackson. Uh, they have Zay Flowers, but they don't have much after that at receiver. They got rid of Likely. There's a good chance they take a pass catcher here, but I think it all stems around your interior line. And the best interior lineman on the board right now out of Penn State, I'm not even going to try to pronounce his name. Um,
Who I
Ola
have?
Vavavega Ioni.
Yes,
Yes.
that's who I got too. All right,
All
at
right.
14, nice.
Yes. Yep.
All right, up next is the Bucks. The Bucks have a lot of places to go: edge, cornerback, linebacker. But this one, everybody's saying it, and I'm like, okay, why not the best tight end on the board? Kenyon Sadiq. So that's what I got the Bucks taking.
Hey, I do too, out of Oregon. This makes our third pick
Wow.
in a row, which is interesting because now we're down in the middle of the draft. You'd think would be more alike at the top and then start to get some disparity around the middle. But we got three picks in a row, exactly the same. I got Kenyon
People
Sadiq
have
as
him going
well.
to the Bucks. And I'm like, okay, makes
Yep.
sense. Baker could definitely use another tight end that he could dump the ball off to. So,
Yep.
all right, let's go. Oh, up next is those damn Jets.
Yes. And we both had him taken Arvel Reese, right? At number two, the linebacker, right? Did you have him on taking Arvel Reese at two?
Yes. Yep.
Yeah. Okay. And now they'll probably go after their receiver, someone to complement um Garrett Wilson there.
Yep.
And I look at it, and on your board, you still have Jordan Tyson out there, so you might be leaning in that direction.
I'll save the suspense. That's who I have going.
Okay, all right, and I had him going the Dolphins earlier, but um, yes, if Jordan Tyson's still around at 16, the Jets will take him, but he's off my board. So I would agree with you on based on your board. Based on my board, I have Omar Cooper out of Indiana
Okay.
going to the Jets.
I get him two
Yep.
picks down. So okay.
All right.
All right. Up next, Detroit. Detroit needs some offensive line help. I got them taking Monroe Freeling. Who do you got?
Interesting enough, I have him going two picks down, but I have you had him off your board. He's on my board. Spencer Fanow, offensive tackle out of
Okay.
Utah. Which, of course, if he was there, you'd pick him too if he was
Yeah,
still
yeah. Oh,
there
yeah,
to
yeah, yeah, for
Detroit.
sure. Yep.
But I still have him on my board, so I'm going to take him there. But we agree on the position, though.
Yes. 18 Minnesota. They need help in a couple different places, but mostly on the line of scrimmage, but also defensive backfield. What do you think?
Yeah, that's right where I have him. Defensive backfield. You took him early. I can't remember which team you had. Maybe was it the Cowboys? You took Dylan Thieneman, the
Yes.
safety.
Yes. Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
I have him go. I have him going to the Vikings here at 18.
And I flip it up. I get Gerard McCoy, which I think you had going to the Cowboys, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
I get Gerard McCoy, the cornerback, going to Minnesota here.
All right, so a little flip flop there. Interesting, but we both know that both teams are looking for that defensive backfield
Defensive
help.
back, yeah. All right, up
Yep.
next is Carolina Panthers. What do you think here, PB? Last year they drafted a wide receiver in the first round, correct?
Yeah, Ted McMillan, who
Yeah.
looks like he's going to be a good NFL receiver for sure. Um, Giving Bryce Young some weapons is always a good thing. I know a lot of people right now are looking at Kenyon Sadiq potentially going to the Panthers. If if he's around, they probably would take him. We both have him off our board because we had him going to the Bucks earlier. So how do you help a quarterback? You help them with the offensive line, and you got an offensive line here. And I still have Freeling on my board. You have him going to Detroit two
Okay,
picks
all right.
earlier, but I have him still on the board. So I'm going to take Monroe Freeling to the Panthers.
I get
I
that
think
one
the
of the
Panthers
skilled.
might trade out of this pick, though. I have a feeling.
They
But go
could,
ahead.
yeah. I got that one of the skilled guy that you already have off the board. Omar Cooper, the wide receiver from Indiana.
Oh, okay. So you think they're going to give him more weapons than in that regard?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
All right.
Up
That's
next
good.
is my Cowboys. And I really struggled with this one. What do you think?
Yeah, I think the Cowboys got to go all in on defense. I mean, they've shown us season over season that they can put up some of the best offensive numbers in the league, and it doesn't help them. In the end, they need defensive players, and we have them already taken someone in the backside of their defense. I had him with McCoy at cornerback. You had him with a safety, Thieneman. But what about up front? They need someone up front, and I look at the best edge that's on this board right now, and that's Keldrick Falk out of Auburn.
All right. All right. That was in my 2.0 as well. Um, I've got him going with a guy a little bit off the radar, but also I'm hearing a lot of news about him. Good news. Cornerback Chris Johnson getting a
Okay.
lot of hype lately. And by the way, the guy I was really hoping for was Akeem Mesidor because he's going to be two picks later, in my opinion. But I get Chris Johnson, the cornerback, going to the Cowboys at 20.
Okay. All right. I don't have him going in my first round incident. Oh, wait, you said Hakeem Mezior?
I got Mesidor coming up pretty soon.
Oh, okay. All right. Because I do too. All right. So, but I don't have Chris. Was it Chris Johnson? You said?
Johnson, yeah,
Yeah.
I saw a couple things today on a couple of different shows, and I'm like, ooh, okay. And I read a little more about it. I'm
Right.
like, okay, all right.
Oh, all right. Okay. I don't have him going in the first round, but I'll respect the pick. I'm going Keldrick Falk out of Auburn there all day.
That's a good one.
All
Like I
right.
said, I had that in my 2.0. All right. 21, Pittsburgh. This is where it gets a little bit crazy for me. What do you think?
Yeah, I think they need to build that offensive line. I really do. I got them taking Blake Miller, the offensive lineman out of Clemson here.
You know what's funny, BB? That's exactly who I had in my 2.0. And then I hate to admit it, but the guy I hate to listen to most on ESPN, Dan O'Connor, what's his name there? The goofy quarterback ran out of bounds in the end zone, Detroit Lions. Uh,
Orlovsky.
Orlovsky. He's got me sold on Ty Simpson. I'm taking Ty Simpson here.
Oh man, that's too high. Ty Simpson's not a first round pick, in my opinion. I think if Pittsburgh wants to bring Rodgers back, if they get Will Howard in there a little bit, if they suck for another year, next year's draft is going to be chock full of quarterbacks for them to take if they get a top 5 or 10 pick in the draft. Ty Simpson's not a first
I
rounder, in
think
my
Mike
opinion.
McCarthy feels that Ty Simpson's a coachable guy, and I
All
agree
right.
with Dan.
I think it's another McCarron. That I just don't see him as a producer in the NFL. All
All
right,
right.
I'll respect the pick though. I'm going to go Akeem Mesidor next, the edge rusher out of Miami, going to the Chargers at
Yeah. Hey,
22.
that's what I got as well.
All right,
Yep.
okay,
All right.
we're hitting some of these.
Philadelphia's up next. Everybody says they need a wide receiver because they're trading AJ Brown, but they just signed a couple of wide receivers in the offseason, correct? Including
Yeah,
Waddle. They don't, in my opinion, they don't need a wide receiver. What do you think they do?
yeah, they don't. But right now on the board, you still have a guy like Casey Concepcion, who is a tremendous route runner. You have a contested catch kind of guy like Denzel Boston. There's some really good wide receivers that they could potentially grab here. But I think they need to beef up that offensive line. Caden Proctor out of Alabama is my pick
You're
here.
funny. That's who I got going here too. The
Oh,
big guy,
really?
the 400-pounder who's now down to 358 goes to Philadelphia. They love their offensive lineman there. Yeah, I'm with you on that. That's a good pick.
All right.
All right, Cleveland's up next. They already picked earlier. What do you think about Cleveland?
Yeah, and because unlike you, who you grabbed Tate with Cleveland's pick at number 6, I thought Tate would fall to 8 to the Saints. So because Cleveland does have this 24th pick, is why I said go offensive line first, take the best offensive lineman in the draft, and then at 24 you'll still get a good receiver. I just talked about Concepcion and Boston both still being on the board. I think Casey Concepcion is sneaky, kind of like best wide receiver in this class. And I'm going to go back to the Justin Jefferson draft. If you remember that draft, there was 4 or 5 wide receivers taken over him,
Yep,
including who was
yep.
that who went to Philadelphia. He turned out to be a bust, and then he got traded to a couple other teams.
Oh
Um,
God.
you know who I'm thinking of,
Yeah.
right?
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Including him. He was taking actually the pick
Yep.
right before Justin Jefferson. He was like the
Yep.
fifth or sixth pick in that draft, and obviously turned out to be probably one of the best receivers in that class. I think that could be Casey Concepcion. This
Okay.
so I'm going to take him with the Browns at 24 out of A&M.
I took my receiver for them earlier, so now I flip it. I go offensive line. I take the kid Max. I can't say his last name either. Hanaccio.
Okay, I don't have him going in the first round.
Yeah, he was. He's one of the better tackles
Yep,
that I've read about. So I'm going with him.
I've
All
seen
right.
some mock, I've seen some mocks with him going to the Patriots.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. Bears are up next. What do they do?
I think Bears need help in that defensive backfield. They could try to go corner here with someone like Avion Terrell or Colton Hood, but I think and the only thing that scares me about this is just the quality of play that Toledo has. But I'm going Emmanuel McNeil Warren, the safety out of Toledo, to the Bears at 25.
All right. All right. I agree with you on the question about the quality of games they play and stuff like that, which is why I'm going with a guy that played for a legitimate team. Edge TJ Parker goes to the Bears.
All right, I got him in my very next pick going to the Bills at 26 out of Clemson, TJ Parker, edge rusher to Buffalo.
I get Caden McDonald going to Buffalo with that pick.
All
Defensive
right.
tackle.
Okay. All right. Which was the first defensive tackle taken, right? On the
Yeah.
board. I think I got defensive lineman going in a couple picks that I think is better than that option. But okay, so we're at 27
I
with
think
San
Buffalo needs
Francisco.
somebody in the interior. That's why they got guys on the edge. So they need someone on the interior. Oh, we got only a couple minutes left. All right. Next is San Francisco. What do you got here?
I think they're going to need a wide receiver. I mean, I look at, I know Evans went there, but Evans only has
Yep.
a couple years left in the tank. Ayuk's kind of done there. Jennings is done there. I mean, they need some help at wide receiver. The Denzel Boston, I think, fits the wide receiver mold of San Francisco. Big, tall, contested
Yep.
catch type guy. So I got Denzel Boston going 27 out of Washington to
And I
to
was
the
close
Niners.
on that. I hear you on that. But the 49ers love their defensive line. I got them taking this guy Melaki, I think is how you say it, Lawrence, edge
Okay.
rusher.
All right. Okay. I don't have him going in my first round either, but we're getting down to the end of the first round here. I have a defensive lineman going next. Peter Woods out of
To the
Clemson
Texans.
to the Texans. Yep.
You know what? I had Peter Woods in the first round, or I forget where, but I don't have him in the first round right now. I got them going offensive line. I got them Chase Bisonte.
Okay. I like it. I like it. I think that would certainly help the team. We saw what happened with what's his name, Stroud last year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, Casey's up next. What do they do? I
I
gave
think
earlier. Now they get somebody that can really help them on the back end, in my opinion.
Yeah, well, right, because you had them taking
Jeremiah
the
Love,
running
flip into
back,
him.
Jeremiah Love. I have them taking Ruben Bain, the edge rusher. I think they load up. Again, I have a lot of teams doing this that have 2 picks in the first round. They get the front part of their defense taken care of up front, then they go to the back side of their defense. And I do have them taking Avion Terrell out of Clemson as a
It's a good
cornerback.
one. I got him taking Colton Hood, cornerback.
All right. And that's my very next pick. I got Colton Hood going to the
Oh,
Dolphins.
for the Dolphins?
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
at 30. But because
All right, you mentioned
I had
so
him
so.
taking Jordan Tyson in their first pick at receiver. Now they go defensive there. Because I know you had them taking defensive player up there, right?
Yeah,
The Dolphins at 10,
I know. I
11.
have him taking offensive lineman.
Oh, you did. Oh, that's right. Okay. Gotcha. All right.
All right. So here's where they got their wide receiver, in my opinion. A guy that I'm surprised is still on the board, Denzel Boston.
Okay. Yep. I had him going to San Francisco a
Yeah,
couple picks earlier. So
yeah.
if he is still on the board at that point, I would agree that that's a good pick for them.
All right,
If he
here
left.
we go. The Pats are up. What do you got?
Pats are up at 31. They need help on the offensive line. We talked about the guy you just had going a little bit earlier as a potential there. I think Caleb Lomu out of Utah is the man right now. I see that on a lot of mocks. It makes a lot of sense. Is that who you
That's
got
what I
too?
got.
All right.
That's what I got. And by the way, they get him penciled in at left tackle, which means Will Campbell moves to where?
To right tackle, right? Or left
Or
guard.
guard, right? Which
Yeah.
is probably where he's more suited for. Yeah, I got
Yeah.
Loma as well. All right. All right. Seattle's up. Everybody says they're going to take this guy. So I said, okay, what the heck? Because they
Yep.
lost Kenneth Walker.
Yep.
Jim
Janarian
Price.
Price.
Yeah, yeah. You got
Yeah.
him too?
Yeah, absolutely, 100%. And I love it if he lands there. I think he has a good chance to be successful. He could probably, I mean, Charbonnet is going to be the running back that he has to beat out, but I think with time he can easily do that. So that, hey, couple similar picks there on the last two. We were exactly the same as well. I think we had at least 8 to 10 picks that were exact.
I
Yeah.
think so. Yeah, because we had a
As,
stretch of three in a row, right? At one point in time.
yeah. Do you have an electronic version, a spreadsheet or something that you can just send me so I can post it?
I don't. I'll make it up though. I'll send it to you.
Or just send it to me and I'll make a column for you and a column for me and I'll put it together. Just send me the picks over again because I didn't write them down.
Okay.
And we'll get it out on our website for all our friends to see that haven't had a chance to watch the show.
All right, my man. Good show. Good talk.
All right. Take care, man.
2 days, 2.5 days to go.
Yeah, let's go.